I'm going to be surprising my girlfriend on her birthday with some peppered goat meat and small chops. So I went to the market. Things were really expensive. I had to use my head at that point, even though I would have trekked back home. So first, I started off by getting groundnut oil because I needed it more for everything I was doing, from the chops to the meat and all of that. I got my ginger, garlic, onions, flour, yeast, sugar, milk flavors. I got chops trays. I got nutmeg. I got seasoning. I got fresh pepper. I got vegetables. I got vegetables like basil, green pea, green beans, and all of that. Now the veggies almost made me cry. Everything was so expensive, especially the carrots. Aboki sold 3 pieces of carrots, 3 for 500 naira. I even had to still buy more. It was still so small. I was even begging him to adjire. I sure bought everything I thought was necessary and I left the market. So I'm going to list out everything I used in the description box. So when I got home, the first thing I did, I removed my meats and my vegetables and I washed them thoroughly well with salt and water because of sand. I then marinate my meat. I used some fennel seed, I used seasoning cubes, I used some salt to taste, I used thyme, I used undiluted ginger and garlic powder, I used coriander seed, I used grated pepper and onions. I grated my pepper and onions together. I love my food a bit spicy. That was why I added that. And then after that, I combined everything, like I mixed everything to combine. And then I added little bit of fresh basil, I added sliced onion, and I allowed it to rest for about an hour inside my fridge.
1 hour later.
After I finished doing that, and I went on to the meat I was supposed to mash for my samosa filling. Then I added a little bit of seasoning to my meat. I love doing this because it gives inner sweetness to my meat. When I was done doing that, I blended my meat and I set it to one side. Then my vegetables I was supposed to use for my samosa and spring roll. The ones for my samosa, I washed them and I cut them in cubes. The ones for my spring roll, I washed them and I cut them shredded. I also set that aside. I went on to mix the batter for my samosa and spring roll wraps. Now in a bowl, I added flour, corn flour, sugar, salt. I added a pinch of nutmeg. After adding my nutmeg, I added water and I mixed everything to combine and smooth so that my samosa wraps will not have lumps. After I finished doing that, now it came to my head, I felt like trying out 2 different batters. I'm used to the thick batter. I decided to try out brownie batter. If you want to make your samosa wrap, you must have a non-stick pan. You must have a pastry brush if you don't know how to use your hand. And then your fire should be on low heat. Else, your samosa wrap will just get burnt. You carry your brush, you now apply your samosa batter or your spring roll batter on the brush. Then apply it on your heated pan in circle shape. Just make it round to come out flat. Make sure there are no holes. Then when it's bubbling up, remove it. Don't allow it too dried or too burnt. Just be looking at it so it does not get dried or it does not get burnt, so that your samosa can come out looking smooth and fine. After I was done making my samosa wraps as seen in the video, then I now moved on to blending my pepper and shambo for my pepper goat meat sauce. So at this point, I brought out my meat from the fridge and then I allowed this to cook in its own water till it was ready. After that, I wanted to grill the meat, but on the second thought, I just felt, let me just fry the meat because I needed to deliver on time and I just needed to deliver on time. There was no time again for the party and all of that. So I just went straight to frying my meats. And then I wanted it really dried, not golden brown. I wanted it really, really dried and it came out the way I wanted it to. After I finished doing that, in that same pan, with that same oil, I stir-fried some sliced onions for like few seconds and then I added my blended pepper. I allowed this to fry for a while, allowing the water in the pepper to dry off completely. Then after I was done doing that, I now added my seasoning cubes, I added some salt to taste. After a while, I added the fried meat. I mixed everything properly to combine so that the pepper sauce can enter inside the meat properly. After I was done doing that, I sliced some green bell pepper and then I added some sliced onions and then my pepper goat meat was ready. After I finished doing that, I now started making my spring roll and samosa filling. Now on a medium-low heat, I added oil to my pan, I added the onions, I allowed to stir fry a little, I added the ginger and garlic paste. I continued stirring and then I added a little bit of grated pepper. Like I said, I love spicy food. And then after a few seconds, I added my green and red bell pepper, I added my green beans, my already parboiled green peas. I stirred it for a while and then I added my shredded carrots. Don't mind my small shredded carrots, it's the one my money could afford. After adding my shredded carrots to this, I then mixed everything properly, added some seasoning cubes, some salt to taste, and then I added my cabbage. Then lastly, I love adding my spring onions last. I added my spring onions, I mixed everything and then it was ready. In that same pan, I started my samosa fillings. Now I added oil to my already heated pan, I added onions, I added the ginger and garlic paste, still the same process. and then I added my meat. I allowed this now to saute for like, I allowed it to saute for like 3 to 4 minutes because I needed the meat to be well cooked. Till the meat changes color from raw to cooked meat. You understand? So while this was frying or sauteing, I was turning it. I was stirring it because I didn't want it to be burnt. I added a little bit of grated pepper. I continued stirring. I added my green bell pepper, my red bell pepper. Later on, I added my already parboiled green pea and green beans. I was still stirring it. I added my seasoning cubes, some salt to taste, and then I added my chopped carrots. I'm still saying it, don't mind my chopped carrots. I'm managing carrots. You're supposed to use enough carrots. I added my chopped carrots. I stirred it again, and then lastly again I added my spring onions. Then a few seconds later it was ready. I set that aside also. Now I'm going to say this: to get a perfect samosa wrap, you have to follow the steps accordingly to avoid open holes or space by the edge of your samosa or spring roll fillings. See, I'm going to show you how I do mine. You get a pizza cutter. I don't have one with me, so I'll be using kitchen knife. If your wrappers are big, it should give you 5 straight wraps, but if it is small, it should give you less than that. After cutting it out, keep it straight. Start by folding your wraps up right and up left. Now add your samosa fillings in the middle as you're seeing it in the video. Add it in the middle. Continue the same process till you are done. Then seal it up with your batter. Now your samosa is ready like that. Just watch the video continuously so you understand what I'm saying better. Then when I was done with the samosa and spring roll, I now started making my pop-off. I added sugar to flour, I added milk flavor, I added my salt, I added the yeast, and then I added nutmeg. I mixed everything to combine. Then I added lukewarm water. I mixed to smooth and I covered it really tight for about 25 to 30 minutes. Then it was ready for frying at that point. Now your oil needs to be enough when you want to fry your pop-off. When you're frying it, to avoid your pop-off looking burnt and not fried on the inside. And then it also helps you achieve golden brown pop-off. That's if your if your oil is already hot, reduce your heat to medium low heat. It's going to help you achieve that golden brown pop-off, and it's not going to look too burnt, and it's going to be well fried on the inside. After I was done frying my pop-off, I started frying my samosa and spring roll still on that same medium low heat. I did not reduce it, I did not increase it, and it gave me what I wanted. After I finished arranging my small chops in my chops tray with my pepper goat meat, I dressed up and I set for the party. Guys, the party was lit. My chops was yummy. Everybody loved it.
She's a chef, she's a baker, she's everything, like she's nice.
Aww. Trust me guys, if you try this recipe, I promise you will come back to my DM to say thank you. I love you all. Bye.